Yeah, hi there. These comments are for Trom. This is Michael from the 7-Step System to pass the TOEFL IBT. Let's take a look at your question in your email. You say, Dear Professor Michael, I'm very impressed with your website with many students who pass the TOEFL over 100. I have struggled with the TOEFL for many years in order to apply for a graduate school in the United States. Your question is, how do I improve my TOEFL scores? And that is exactly the reason that you're sending me this email. And it's a good question, and the reason I'm doing this video here, Trom, is there's a lot of people at my YouTube channel who are also wondering the very same question. They want to know what you want to know. So let's see if we can figure it out. And your question, I have interviewed about 13 different students over the last year or two, and I've interviewed specific students who did score over 100, and I asked these students about their background and about the kinds of things that they did to get better. And all of these videos these are just 13 out of 330 different lessons to help you improve your TOEFL score. But to answer your question, first of all, you need a good foundation of English. You need to practice reading for an extensive period of time. You should be reading magazines and newspapers and books. You should also be watching TV, including news channels, history channels, discovery type channels, all those kinds of things. So you need constant exposure with both reading and listening materials. And also you need to be speaking on a regular basis. You need to do these things more than likely for several years before you can be anywhere close to getting over 100. Now, obviously, if you're doing those things, you still need to practice TOEFL, right? And of course, that's why I'm in business, and that's why I have this month about 150 subscribers. They're all working on their vocabulary, their pronunciation, their grammar, their reading, their listening, their writing, and their speaking areas. So what these students are doing is exactly what you can do. Is they go through my different lessons in my different steps. They go through vocabulary practice exercises, pronunciation. They practice their grammar. They practice their reading, their listening, and then they begin taking practice tests. They do pronunciation, speaking, and writing practice tests directly at my website. And then I and my workers, we actually will read those practice tests if they're writing, or we'll listen to them if they're spoken, and we'll give these students comments. We'll do exactly the same thing for you. So how do you improve your TOEFL score? It's a combination of using English, both reading and listening materials on a regular basis, and then practicing TOEFL type materials so you can improve your academic English proficiency. So passing the score is a combination of doing those two basic things. Now at this point, Trom, I'd like to invite you to become my newest subscriber to the 7-Step System to pass a TOEFL test. And you've struggled with the TOEFL. Let's struggle together. For example, Sabo, a few months ago, she was one of my students of the 7-Step System. She was having a very tough time getting 26 in the speaking and 24 in the writing. And after 3 months of being in my service, she improved her speaking score to 26. She improved her writing score to 27. And I can think of no other person who struggled more than she did. She was frustrated at times, but she kept working and she kept studying over an extended period of time, and she did get the results she wanted. How about Luis? Luis was one of my students a few months ago, and when he came to me, his TOEFL score was only 67. And then after 4 months, he was able to increase his TOEFL score to 87. Think about that. How about one of my other students who was already pretty advanced when he first came? He ended up getting 113 out of 120 on the TOEFL after using my service for 30 days. So the question is, The question is not, can you score 100? The answer, Trom, is yes. But the real question is, how long will it take you, and how hard will you work to get that? And maybe the bigger question is, are you willing to do the work that you need to get the results you want? All right. Anyway, thank you very much. I hope you consider becoming one of my students. If you do, I recommend that you do my pronunciation pretest immediately to see if you have any problems in pronunciation. This part of your English proficiency can take usually more than a month, so you definitely want to be practicing on this right away. Okay?